Why did Jimin look so disappointed when Jungkook stepped on the Calvin Klein runway? What really happened behind the flashes and applause at New York Fashion Week? Fans can't stop asking questions, and the silence from HYBE only fuels the fire. Share your thoughts in the comments. Hit like if this shocks you, and subscribe for more updates. We need ARMY's voice in this storm. What if the most anticipated fashion moment of the year turned into the most controversial drama BTS fans have ever seen? What if Jungkook, the golden maknae, the man who redefined stage presence, walked into a spotlight that suddenly revealed not admiration, but disappointment in the eyes of someone closest to him? The world expected perfection when Jungkook stepped out for Calvin Klein at New York Fashion Week. Yet all it took was one unexpected gesture, one subtle misstep to ignite a whirlwind of speculation. And the question haunting every corner of social media is simple yet burning. Why did Jimin's face tell a different story? The cameras were flashing, the music roared through the venue, and Jungkook entered in that iconic Calvin Klein fit. His walk was steady, powerful, the kind of stride that could silence even his harshest critics. Fans screamed his name. The brand's executives clapped with smug satisfaction, and influencers rushed to capture every frame. But in that exact sea of celebration, ARMY's sharp eyes noticed something the media tried to ignore. Jimin, seated a few rows from the stage, shifted uncomfortably, his jaw tight, his eyes lowering every time Jungkook looked his way. It was not anger, not envy, but disappointment written so raw that fans began to freeze their screens, zoom in, and ask, what did Jungkook do? The whispers spread like wildfire online. Some claimed Jungkook had overstepped boundaries with the concept chosen by Calvin Klein, pushing an image that clashed with BTS's collective identity. Others argued he made a rebellious statement that left his members unprepared, a decision that might have blindsided Jimin. But then came the more emotional theory, the idea that Jungkook had sent a hidden message, a gesture with his hands, a glance with his eyes that only those closest to him could decode. A message that Jimin received, and the weight of it was too heavy to mask under the blinding lights of Fashion Week. Fans rushed to Twitter, TikTok, and Weverse, throwing their theories into the storm. Did Jungkook betray the group's unity for his solo ambition? Did Calvin Klein pressure him into something he never wanted, and Jimin recognized the pain hidden in his confidence? Or was this personal, something deeper, an unspoken bond between two men who have walked side by side for a decade, suddenly cracking under the gaze of millions? The questions refused to stop, and the silence from both HYBE and the members only deepened the chaos. Because when ARMY feels a shift, they don't let go until the truth surfaces. The controversy only escalated when clips from the show began trending under hashtags that weren't planned by the brand: Jungkook why, Jimin disappointed, and what happened at Calvin Klein. The official campaign wanted sleek elegance and modern masculinity, but what the world got instead was a storyline of betrayal, emotional distance, and confusion. This was no longer about clothes. It was about trust. It was about identity. It was about two brothers on the world's biggest stage, no longer reading from the same script. And so the story unfolded, like a drama no one wrote, but everyone watched. Every replay of Jungkook's walk was no longer about the outfit, but about his eyes, his smirk, his posture. Was he nervous? Was head defiant? Was he sending a message to Jimin or to the world? Meanwhile, every clip of Jimin sitting in the audience became a symbol of heartbreak, his every blink dissected as if it held the secret fans demanded. Some fans cried online, writing that it felt like a betrayal. Others defended Jungkook, insisting he was trapped by brand obligations. But the most painful voices were those that admitted the unthinkable. Maybe Jimin and Jungkook are no longer aligned. If this were a simple scandal, time would dissolve it. But this is BTS. This is Jungkook. This is Jimin. Their bond is not just a friendship, it is history, memory, blood, and sweat on countless stages. It is nights of training, days of sacrifice, years of standing shoulder to shoulder against a world that doubted them. So why, on this night, did their bond crack in public? Why did Jimin's disappointment speak louder than the cheers? Why did Jungkook's silence afterward hurt more than any explanation could have? As hours turned into days, ARMY demanded answers. Some stormed HYBE's official channels, flooding comment sections with questions. Others pleaded for Jimin to post something, anything, to calm the storm. But HYBE's silence was deafening, and Jungkook himself vanished after the event. No Instagram lives, no statements, just a void that made the speculation unbearable. Fans began to suspect something larger was happening behind closed doors. Was this the beginning of a new era, or the end of something they never thought could break? The tragedy of it all is how quickly celebration turned to fracture. This was supposed to be Jungkook's crowning moment, a triumph that placed him not just as a K-pop idol, but as a global fashion icon. Instead, it became the night ARMY split in half, those defending, those accusing, those simply crying at the thought that their idols were hurting in ways they could not heal. And in the middle of it all, Jimin's silence was heavier than words. Because disappointment is not loud. It is quiet. It is still. It is a weight that bends shoulders but never raises a voice. So the question lingers, sharp as glass. What really happened between Jimin and Jungkook at the Calvin Klein show? Was it a misstep, a personal rift, a brand decision gone wrong, or a silent cry for help? Until the truth emerges, fans will keep watching, keep speculating, keep fighting in comment sections and trending hashtags. Because for ARMY, every gesture matters, every glance counts, every silence screams. And in this silence, Jungkook and Jimin's story has never felt more fragile. The moment Jungkook disappeared backstage, whispers turned into accusations. Some insiders claimed that his entire Calvin Klein concept had been rewritten at the last minute, not by him, but by HYBE executives eager to push boundaries. Yet others swore that Jungkook himself insisted on a bold walk that would shock the industry, even if it meant defying what his members expected. And that's where the controversy cuts deepest. Did Jungkook betray BTS's unity for his solo image, or was he forced into a corner where rebellion was the only option? Screenshots spread of a supposed leaked conversation between stylists suggesting that Jimin had warned management days before the event. The rumor was brutal. Jimin allegedly begged for moderation, saying, "This could hurt Jungkook more than help him. Don't turn him into a brand puppet." If true, Jimin's disappointment wasn't just about what Jungkook did. It was about seeing his warnings ignored, watching his brother walk into a trap. Fans who believed the leak erupted online, accusing HYBE of exploiting Jungkook's rising popularity at the cost of BTS's brotherhood. Others, however, twisted the narrative, claiming Jimin's concern was jealousy, that he feared Jungkook outshining him in the global spotlight. This division didn't just create arguments, it created civil war among ARMY themselves. The controversy sharpened when videos surfaced showing Jungkook flashing a mysterious hand sign as he posed for the finale. Some claimed it was a symbol of defiance, directed not at Calvin Klein, but at HYBE itself. Others argued it was meant for Jimin, a private gesture gone public, too intimate to decode, but too painful to ignore. Conspiracy threads multiplied. Was Jungkook rebelling against the company? Was he signaling a private conflict with Jimin? Or was this nothing more than a misunderstood move, magnified by millions of eyes desperate for meaning? Sponsors, too, could not stay silent. Some praised Jungkook's boldness, calling him the new face of fearless fashion. But behind closed doors, whispers leaked that other luxury brands were furious. This wasn't the safe global idol they invested in, but a risk, a wildfire they couldn't control. One Korean sponsor allegedly pulled out of a pending contract, citing the event as too scandalous. Meanwhile, American and European brands lined up, excited by the controversy, believing that Jungkook had transcended the idol cage and entered the realm of true celebrity rebellion. And then came the cruelest twist. Fans discovered that after the show, Jimin left the venue without greeting Jungkook. Cameras caught him slipping into a black car, his expression tight, refusing to wave. No smile, no nod, nothing. That absence was louder than a scream. The man who had stood beside Jungkook for years, celebrating his victories, couldn't even fake a moment of joy. Fans broke down crying online, writing, "It's over. Something between them broke tonight." Others raged, turning on Jimin, accusing him of not supporting his brother when he needed him most. What should have been a triumph for Jungkook turned into a battlefield where ARMY themselves tore each other apart. This is the controversy that burns hotter with each passing hour. Is Jungkook a victim of corporate greed, a rebel fighting for his own identity, or an idol who chose ambition over brotherhood? And is Jimin a loyal friend, disappointed by betrayal, or a silent rival who couldn't bear to share the stage of global glory? These questions have no answer yet, and perhaps that's why they hurt more. Because what fans fear most isn't Calvin Klein, isn't HYBE, isn't the flashing cameras. It's the possibility that Jungkook and Jimin, two brothers who survived everything together, may now be standing on opposite sides of a line no one wanted to see drawn. The night didn't end with flashing cameras. It erupted afterward in a way that nobody expected. Within hours, multiple anonymous posts from alleged HYBE staff began circulating on Korean forums. One in particular went viral. You all saw Jungkook's stage. That wasn't Calvin Klein's idea. That was Jungkook's personal demand. He insisted on walking with that expression, with that gesture, even when Bang Si-hyuk begged him not to push too far. The post triggered immediate chaos. If true, it painted Jungkook as a rebel willing to defy even his own company, a man who would prioritize shock value over the stability of BTS's brand. But another post surfaced that contradicted everything. Don't be fooled. Jungkook didn't want this. HYBE forced him into the role. He was crying backstage, saying he couldn't face Jimin after the show. Two narratives, two extremes, both equally believable, both equally destructive. Fans no longer knew who to trust. Was Jungkook a victim or the architect of his own scandal? The controversy deepened when Korean journalists claimed they had footage of a heated argument between Jimin and Jungkook just minutes before the show began. Allegedly, Jimin confronted him, whispering sharply, "Do you know what you're doing? This isn't you. This isn't us." The clip never surfaced publicly, but the claim alone was enough to fuel a storm. Fans on Twitter began trending hashtags like Protect Jimin and Stand with Jungkook, each side treating the other as an enemy, while Calvin Klein executives allegedly laughed in the background, enjoying the free global publicity. And then came the biggest bomb. A gossip column in Seoul suggested that Jungkook had deliberately chosen to walk in defiance because of something personal, a broken promise between him and Jimin. Rumors swirled that the two had agreed to appear together at an upcoming project, but Jungkook betrayed that trust by taking Calvin Klein alone, elevating himself while leaving Jimin behind. The theory tore through ARMY like wildfire, with thousands of fans writing emotional posts about betrayal, loyalty, and the collapse of the brotherhood they had idealized for over a decade. Outside HYBE's building in Seoul, a group of furious fans even gathered with signs that read, "Stop using Jungkook as a puppet," and "Respect Jimin's voice." Security tried to keep order, but videos of the protests spread online, adding fuel to an already uncontrollable fire. The most shocking part, however, was Bang Si-hyuk's alleged reaction. Industry insiders whispered that he was furious, slamming his desk, yelling at both Calvin Klein reps and HYBE managers for letting this spiral into global controversy. Some even claimed he broke down in tears during a late-night meeting, saying, "I raised them as brothers, and now the world thinks they're enemies." But ARMY wasn't ready to forgive. Forums overflowed with petitions demanding official clarification. Some called for HYBE boycotts. Others demanded Jungkook apologize. But perhaps the cruelest wave came from international fans, accusing Jimin of sabotaging Jungkook's big night by showing visible disappointment instead of quiet support. The fandom, once united in defending BTS, was now eating itself alive. And through it all, Jungkook stayed silent. No live streams, no statements, no explanations, just silence. A silence that made fans wonder if he was guilty, if he was broken, or if he was preparing for something even bigger, something that might shake the foundation of BTS itself.